Hi, my name is Evelyn Hecht, and I am a master clinician of pelvic physical therapy and founder of Pelvic Sense, which is an online pelvic healing home program helping people learn how they can heal from pelvic floor distress. I'm also a founding contributor writer for the Pro-Age Woman e-magazine. So my topic today is how to use neuroplasticity and soothing skills to lower pelvic floor pain or distress. So what is pelvic floor distress or pelvic floor dysfunction? So the pelvis has a base or a floor, as we call it, which are a group of muscles that are shaped like a diamond, because we have to have our diamonds, and they have a wide variety of different functions. One is for ease of bladder elimination, bowel movement, being able to keep continence. So when you're running across the street with a full bladder, you're not leaking. For sexual function, having the ability to soften and open the vaginal canal to allow for penetration, as well as for good orgasm. And one of the last things it does is a core stabilizer. It works directly with your deep muscles of the abdomen and the lower back to support your trunk as you're moving up from sit to stand, for example. So if any of these become dysfunctional, you might feel bladder urgency and frequency, constipation, abdominal bloating, pain with intimacy, pain with sitting, chronic lower back pain. All these can be stemming from a pelvic floor issue. So what do I do to help relieve this? And many people in my practice as a pelvic therapist would come to see us after being well analyzed and medically assessed by their good medical doctors. Maybe they have taken some medications, did a surgical procedure, but yet they're still having pain or they're still having dysfunction. So why are they doing that? So what we have learned is when the nervous and immune system and brain has repeatedly been seeing or experiencing distress of an area of the body, it becomes more hypersensitive, upregulated, as we call it. The nervous and immune system gets upregulated, becomes more aware and looking out for danger, and the brain becomes more overprotective, quick to send signals of distress to the pelvic region. And the brain sends distress by sending pain or burning or itching, as well as it sends signals to the muscles around the pelvic floor, the inner thighs, the lower back, the hip muscles. It tells these muscles to start to guard, like those Queen's guards with their tall black bearskin hats, rigid and unmoving. So why does our nervous system, immune system, and brain become this way? It has become this way if one has had more than 4 to 5 months of symptoms. And it's a natural reaction of, hey, something's wrong with this part of our body, so we need to overprotect it. And it can become a faulty overprotective pattern. And understanding, well, what drives the nervous and immune system to send threat messages to the brain is a key. And that's where the neuroplasticity comes in. So what is neuroplasticity? Neuro means neurons. So the neurons of the brain cells, and the neurons within the spinal cord, the spinal neurons. Plasticity means the ability to be flexible, to change, to grow. So the word neuroplasticity means that your nervous system and brain have the ability to change patterns, to learn new skills, to grow brain cells, and to make new connections, which is amazing, because what that means is if we have developed into a faulty overprotective pattern, sending signals of distress or pain or dis-ease to the pelvic region, we can now know that we can unlearn this and learn a new pattern. So the way that our nervous and immune system works is that it's naturally looking out for threats. It's the way we're wired. And it's going to send the threat messages to the brain. The brain, in turn, assesses, is this really a threat? And if it thinks it's not really a threat, it ignores it. But in a person that has become more sensitive, more upregulated, as we call it, any kind of threat could send off the alarm that something's not right. And we have to tell the brain. And it could be a social threat. A husband and yourself had a fight, or the work deadline is looming and you just can't make it, or there wasn't, you said some scary things to yourself in the morning when you first woke up, that kind of scared your nervous system to thinking that something's not right. So it tends to send too many threat messages to the brain. And if the pattern continues after 4 to 5 months, the brain says, I have to be even more vigilant, and I need to send signals of pain, distress, itching, and also guarding, as I mentioned before. Okay, so how can we reverse this pattern? Well, we're going to use soothing skills to interject and start to send safety messages to your nervous and immune system. We live in a stressful world, there's no question, but we don't have to be at a place where we're always wired and upregulated. We can take charge and say, I've just been through a little bit of a stress here. What can I do to soothe myself? So what are soothing skills? Soothing skills are a wide variety of techniques that you can do interspersed throughout your day and morning, at night, whatever feels right for you and that is healthy for you. And I'm going to share you a number of soothing skills that you can do right in your own home, anytime. The first one is called diaphragmatic breath. Now, diaphragmatic breath is usually a deeper inhale where you're allowing the abdomen to expand as you inhale, because the diaphragm, which sits just underneath your lungs, needs to lower. So as this big muscle lowers, the abdomen expands, and also the pelvic floor gets a gentle ballooning, a gentle expansion. And remember what I had said before, that if one is in a chronic state of pelvic distress, remember the brain has also told muscles to become rigid and guarding. So we want to first move the pelvic floor muscles through breath, but mainly second, what you're doing with that deep, slow inhale and slow exhale is you're activating that rest, digest, eliminate, reproduce nervous system called the parasympathetic nervous system. So with doing 5 diaphragmatic breaths, inhale for a count of 4, hold that end of the inhale if you could up to a count of 4, and then exhale slowly through your nose or mouth for a count of 8, and hold momentarily or rest momentarily to repeat that again up to 5 times. You are automatically shifting away from that fight, freeze, fight sympathetic nervous system, which a lot of people in pelvic distress are in. They're just on that, something's wrong and I got to get ready to fight, protect myself. We want to activate more of that calm, rest, digest nervous system. And that in turn, with breathing, will help to also move your pelvic floor. So that's number one of the first and simplest ways to shift, because what we have learned is that the parasympathetic and the sympathetic, they can't work at the same time. So it's either one or the other. So let's activate more of our parasympathetic soothing skills. A second soothing skill is taking a walk without your phone in nature, whether it be near a park, or if you have a backyard or woods nearby, or if you're lucky enough to live near a beach. 20 to 30 minutes, just noticing the sounds of the water or the colors of the leaves. Being out there in fresh nature is very soothing to the senses. Things just get calm. The body gets in tune really nicely. Again, without taking your phone and looking at it for emails when you're doing that. A walk in nature is the second one. It's simple to do. You can do it right from your home. A third technique would be being grateful. So at the end of the night, before you get to sleep, maybe picture somebody that you love, their face, and look at their face, their eye color, the shape of the face, and send love to them. Or just think about some wonderful thing that you did today, whether it be through making an amazing meal or that you took care of yourself, that you finally got to that 5 minutes of quiet, eliciting the relaxation response, just something where you're complimentary, where you know you're doing a beautiful job in your life and that you have worth. That sends the endorphins like crazy from the brain. When you give yourself that moment of, I'm good. Another soothing skill would be to pet a cat if you have pets. Go out of your way to spend a few moments, maybe a minute or 2 minutes, lovingly petting one of your pets, or your cats, your dogs, whatever you have. When you give that physical touch to your animal, or obviously a human would love it as well, your child, your partner, a few moments of absorbing the way the pet feels, the hug feels, you're releasing oxytocin, your love hormone. And that is another massive safety signal that your nervous and immune system and brain knows that you're good. So oxytocin is being released by your brain as well as being released by the person or the animal receiving your attention. So when one is interspersing during the day, especially if there's more stressful times, some soothing skills, some quieting. If you need to take a 20-minute nap in the middle of the day just to re-energize, those are all things that are healthy and that are self-care and that will help change the patterning of, oh no, something's wrong. I'm going to tell the brain, and the brain's going to tell the muscles to tighten and the symptoms to fly down. So the other thing about neuroplasticity is that we need to keep practicing this, right? So if we do some soothing skills, we need to do this pretty much for another 3 to 4 months of interjecting a few times, once a day, whatever you can, of improving your ability to send calm to yourself. And the last thing about calm is the biggest thing that the brain loves is when you do sit or lie, or for that 5 to 10, 15 minutes of constructive rest, or eliciting the relaxation response, or prayer, or meditation, where it's just quieting and refocusing. We know that we think many different thoughts pretty regularly. We just bring it back to the calming, the quieting, the listening to maybe an air conditioning sound, focusing on what that sounds like just to make it quiet. The brain loves that. And that's also another way that it will send feel-good chemicals to your body. So I hope I've made some insights that you have the ability to change patterns. It takes practice. 3 to 4 months is what I've seen with patients and people who use my program, Pelvic Sense. And please, I hope you decide to take advantage of my gift, which is going to be an audio of pelvic relaxation that I created for patients and for Pelvic Sense. And happy to have you improve your ability and to improve your soothing to feel better. Thank you.